Well, here's a sad sight. My old 1984 Toyota truck. It's been sitting neglected for a few years now. Well, actually about 5. It was taken off the road due to some rust issues. I mean, it looks mint to me. The frame had gotten a couple of soft spots. I think up towards the front actually. But most of the frame's been repaired at one point or another, so who really knows? I mean, it really needs an overhaul completely to really make it, solid again. I like how the body mounts are like paper thin, just from the rust eating away at the outside of them. Now the bed's not terrible on the inside. I mean, the bed sides themselves are rotted out at that pinch seam where the top and the bottom go together. But, it's sort of savable. Good luck trying to find a rust-free bed around here. Stainless exhaust will be the last part left of this truck. So this was my wannabe Back to the Future truck. 84, 4-wheel drive, extra cab, SR5 edition. Came with a sunroof and everything. So I can't believe I'm doing a resurrection of one of my own vehicles that have just been sitting. I don't think that door's coming open just yet. Now the fenders and all the front end's all apart because at one point, right after I took it off the road, I was contemplating rebuilding it and trying to get it back on the road. I ended up getting my Ford truck at that point because this was just too much work in the time frame I had. See if we can get in this side. Yeah, that door still works. It smells like no mice have been in here, which I don't know how that's possible, but I guess we'll take it. Yeah, we just tried the brakes and promptly blew them out. See if we can break the clutch while we're at it. Yeah, that seems to work. For now, anyways. The old 5-speed still shifts as easily as it ever did. Smoothest shifting transmission ever. Alright, I've been looking for this screwdriver. Voltmeter. Oh, old CDs. Oh yeah, the good stuff. Man, I forgot how much I like this truck. See if we can get the hood open here. There's a latch somewhere. There it is. Yeah, the good old 22R. Man, is it rusty under here. I did actually wash this thing at the car wash before I put it in the storage, but I guess you never get all of the salt off of things. It's just been sitting here rusting in peace. One of the rear brake lines is blown out, so it's just clamped shut. Looks like we still got fluid in both the hydraulic clutch and the brakes. She's a little bit crusty. That vacuum advance was like new at one point. Oh man, so much rust. And the exhaust manifold leaked quite a bit. I mean, I welded it and patched some of the one joint down there, but I think that the gasket up at the head was bad as well. Still got some fluid in there. Let's see what the oil looks like. Yeah, it's there. See how many mice are living inside the air filter. Thought I heard something. Ha! Nothing thus far. Well, heck, about time to throw a battery in it and see if it'll run. Well, first we gotta hook up a new fuel supply though, because I'm sure the gas in the tank is no longer good. And if I remember too, when I parked it, the return of their supply line was leaking. So whenever you ran it, it was just, you know, spewing gas out on the ground as well. So we gotta fix that. All right, well, I mean, I knew something had to be living in there. So what we got here for a fuel source is an old Yamaha Enticer fuel tank. Now the nice thing about this tank is you got both the supply and return line fitting already set up on it. Now this wasn't exactly in good condition when I was going to use it. It was cracked down here, so I had to melt things back together with a soldering iron, but yeah, good enough. So there's the supply line on the left, and there's two different lines coming in on the right. One back behind that cross member, hard to see. I gotta figure out which one's the return and which one's the vent. I just need to hook up the return. We're probably just going to tap into those lines there and run them up through that hole in the bed and put the gas tank in the bed. So we got the supply line hooked up there with a new fresh filter, which also acts as a hose union, so we can, you know, put the other fuel line on. Now we didn't have a hose union for the return line, so we're just reusing the old fuel filter so we can, you know, use the barbs on there. Man, I'd swear that was factory. Alright, well, we got the fuel lines hooked up. I guess we'll find out pretty short order whether they're, you know, hooked up to the right fittings or not. Threw some gas in that back tank, and I guess we'll throw a battery on this thing and see if it cranks. Alright, well, we got that hooked up, and we'll see if it's got enough oomph to crank this thing over. Neutral. We got power. Alright, well, it's working, but not sure how long, so we'll throw a little bit of gas down the carb. Don't want to kill that jump pack. Alright, well, we put a little bit more gas down on the ground than we did in the motor. See what happens. Need a little bit more. So we got a tuna can full of gas this time, and I actually put the air filter back on just so. There were some pretty big air leaks with some of the vacuum hoses. That's about all the gas we got. Doesn't seem like she's getting pulling any fuel. Well, it looks like we're not pulling any fuel out of the tank. So we're going to take this, the return line off the filter, blow into it, see if we can pressurize the fuel and get it to come going towards the carb. Well, that definitely got us some fuel. So we'll see if anything's at the carb. what is making that noise on in here. Oh, it's the radio. Come on. So we just cracked open the fuel line on the tractor and stole some secondhand gas. Whoops. Oh, crap. I needed that. Trying to fill up the bowl. Come on. What do I gotta do to get some gas into this thing? So the first logical thing to do to verify if the fuel pump's working is to smack it and then try again. So this will be round 2. We actually got some more gas this time. Spilled a little bit. Let that kind of air out for a second. We got cats. All right. See, that's what's great about Toyotas. You just gotta smack some things with a hammer once in a while. It's the only tool you need. Probably a good idea to see if there's any antifreeze in here before it gets too hot. Oh, there's some in there. Heck yeah. Not a whole lot in the overflow, but now we got fuel flowing through the filter there. I think it's coming back out the return. Hopefully it's not all pumping back into that old tank. So I'm not sure exactly what short is going on there. We got frost building up on the fuel line. Maybe it's pulling some air or something. It's kind of odd. Sort of smells like gas. We'll have to figure out where that brake fluid's going, but I mean, yeah, no brakes. What, do you think the e-brake actually works? Actually, I don't remember if it does. I doubt it. Yeah, that gauge is stuck. There we go. That gauge still works. Yeah, we'll throw the air filter cover back on and let it warm up to operating temperature. brakes are definitely sticking a little bit. Oh, that's the headlights. I forgot about how these Toyotas. Whoop. Well, that didn't work out well. Yeah, on first glance, I thought this was like a can of PB Blaster with some new fancy spray nozzle on it. But no, it's one of them fire extinguishers. Good thing we didn't try spraying this all over the carb. I can't believe I got all this change left over in here. Somehow, the sunroof seems to be hanging in there and not leaking a whole lot. I mean, the cab of the truck has some issues down at the floorboards and you know, a little bit of the body mounts, but for as bad as the rest of the truck is, the cab isn't completely shot. There's some of that good structural duct tape. Those are some sweet speaker boxes. Any bets on if these power windows still work? Well, they still got to go back up. Man. Ooh. There we go. Man, this thing is mint. See how many leaves blow out of the air vent. Oh, yeah. It's snowing inside. I mean, dare we even see if the heat works? I mean, the heat was never great, but it's warmer than ambient, at least. This was the vehicle I used to have to use an ice scraper on the inside a lot of times. Yeah, she's warmed up the temperature, the idle smoothed out. Doesn't even hesitate anymore. I mean, can't believe the thing's been sitting for that long. Just fires up and like it's ready to go. I mean, you know, aside from like the whole brakes and the rusty frame issue. I kind of miss driving this thing because it was always a struggle, like to ever maintain speed or merge onto the interstate. So, I mean, you felt like you were racing it just trying to maintain 60 miles an hour. I don't think the cassette deck works anymore, unfortunately. It's getting harder and harder to find a vehicle with a good working tape deck.
Don't see any fluid spewing out yet.
I was kind of worried about that slight knocking sound you hear going there. But if you watch that water pump pulley, that doesn't look 100% kosher. I think that might be going out. Yeah, I'd say that needs replaced. So who knows what the game plan for this is. I mean, long term, I'd like to use a good frame I got from another truck and kind of, you know, fix it up and get it back on the road. For now, it just may become a plow truck. If I can find the right size plow to put on there, you know, at least keep it running and give me some motivation to fix the necessary wear items like that water pump.